I want to dive right in and deliver you value right to your golf game in terms of one of the core pillars that I know, especially for beginning golfers, to help you hit the ball straighter and more efficiently. Efficiently meaning same golf swing, but have the ball go a greater distance, right? Then we'll jump right into stuff about your grip that we're going to lean on forever and ever.
This is Golf Essentials with Casey Bork.
I want to address people who slice the ball, right? So I think that's the biggest crop of people out there. They hit it too short because they're hitting the ball with a glancing blow. The ball's just not jumping off the face. There's no power there. And for a right-hand player, it peels off to the right. If you plotted your shot patterns, your sort of dispersions, if you hit it at a flag that's 150 yards away, or even your tee shots, if you plotted a dispersion of 1,000 shots, you'd probably have 75% of them to the right of the target and 25% to the left. So why is that, right? It's not just something in golf that you have to deal with. It's not something that the pros have figured out and they're keeping secrets from us. It's really simple, right? If the ball is going to the right, it is because the club face itself, so where the club face is looking at impact. So not where you start, but at impact, the club face is looking out to the right. No shot has ever been hit out to the right with a club face that's looking to the left. Okay? So if you want to control the direction that the ball is flying, club face angle represents almost 100% of that issue. Okay? So people get twisted. They get twisted with their mindset. They think about what their elbows are doing, what their head is doing, where their body's turning and shifting. All that is shit until you start controlling what the club face itself is doing. So when you start the club with the club perpendicular to the target line, right? So the club is pointed right at your target when you start. Most people are pretty good at that. That can kind of be irrelevant if during the course of your swing the club returns back to the ball pointed in a different direction. Understood? So if you're slicing the ball, and by the way, slices become more exaggerated with the longer clubs and the less lofted clubs. So if you slice the club, you're probably okay hitting a wedge or a 9-iron because it's really hard to impart a lot of side spin on a 9-iron. But if you try to hit a 4-iron or a driver, that same swing, you just don't get away with it. The club face angle becomes so important that it's putting more spin on the ball, not to mention you're hitting it harder and farther. So any inconsistencies or any imperfections there, just a couple degrees off, when you throw it out there 250 yards, it's going to be well offline. So controlling the club face angle is numero uno when you want to try to hit fairways, when you want to try to hit targets directionally speaking. So how do we control club face angle? The absolute first thing that you need to know about controlling club face angle is your grip. And I'm not going to get into the details of where the club falls in your hand and overlap and interlock and all that stuff. I want you to look at the relationship that your hands have on the club rotationally. So what I mean by that, when you hold the club, both of your thumbs are roughly on top of the club, the shaft, right? So we lay the club down on the ground, perpendicular to our target, it's perfectly straight, and our thumbs are roughly right on top of the shaft of the club as we look down at our hands. Okay? So the relationship of your hands rotationally and the club face is going to influence how that club face comes back to the ball at impact. And if you've played tennis before, the spins are exactly the same. So what we want is a top spin forehand. What we don't want is a cut shot that goes over the net and spins backwards. That's what a slice is, okay? In fact, they call that a slice in tennis. So when we're standing over the ball, we got the club the face is pointing straight at the target. Instead of having our thumbs directly on top of the shaft, what I want you to take is that whole unit of both of your hands, your left hand and your right hand. Don't move them relative to each other, but I want you to take both of them, loosen your grip on the club. Don't move the club face. Keep the club where it is, but I want you to rotate your hands to the right. So your thumbs are maybe not all the way onto the side of the shaft, but maybe at a 45-degree angle. Take it further than you think you should, okay? So take it further over. Now regrip the club so the club face is still pointed at the target line, but your thumbs are now, as you're looking down at your hands, your thumbs are off to the right-hand side of the shaft. You're seeing some additional knuckles on your left hand, right? So it's not going to feel good, okay? It's not how we normally hold things. It's going to feel a little strange, but the argument I would say is, hey, what feels good isn't working, so we got to try something different, okay? So this relationship, when we move our hands off to the right like that, when we make our swing, your hands are going to want to return back to that comfortable feeling neutral position. And if you rehearse one, just do a little half swing. So you start with your thumbs over on the right, and you rehearse a swing. Your hands are going to want to rotate coming through the ball just automatically. You don't have to think about rolling your wrists or any of that shit, right? Your hands want to return naturally to that position. And if you take a look at the club face, it's probably closed. It's probably looking a little bit left now, you know? That's what we want, because at high speed, that club head sort of lags behind, and it's going to be more square to the target. So what I would suggest when you're hitting balls, try to exaggerate that. Get those thumbs way off onto the right-hand side of the club head, of the handle of the club. Hit a few shots. Try to relax. Right, we're not going to hold the club tightly. We're not going to try to roll our wrists or anything. Hit shots as you always have, and keep doing that until you start hitting them too far to the left. And if you've never done that before, it's super cool. You're gonna feel like, oh my God, the ball just jumps off the face, and you hit your first draw ever, and the ball goes twice as far as you've always hit it, and it's a really cool feeling. But what we're hoping to do is take the pendulum and swing it the other way. Let's prove to ourselves that we can hit the ball to the left, and then over the next 5 or 10 or 15 balls, start working it back more towards a happy medium. So we know where we started with our thumbs directly on top of the shaft. That produces a slice. With our thumbs 90 degrees way over on the side, the right-hand side of the shaft, that produces a duck hook that goes way to the left. Okay? So what we're going to do, and this is a perpetual thing, so you're always going to be feeling these subtle adjustments, rotating those hands around to the right or around to the left to adjust for straight. Okay? So when you're out on the golf course, that's a super cool thing to know. If you keep slicing it, you know that maybe the next shot you hit, you want to adjust your hands and tweak them where your thumbs are moving just a little bit around the shaft to the right. If you start hooking everything, let's move back the other way. Let's wiggle our hands just a little more towards those thumbs being more on top of the shaft. Every golf swing is different. Every human being is different. So it's about you finding that happy medium that produces a straight shot. And I can tell you, the guys that do it on TV have found that happy medium, and the definition of a proper grip is one that your hands will return the club face back to that square position so you can swing as hard as you want, guys. This is not about swinging easy so that the club has a chance to come around. That's all bullshit, right? You need a grip that returns the club back to the ball with a square club face, and here's the key, without manipulation. Okay? We want to hold the club softly. We don't want to squeeze the club too tightly. We want to relax, right? And I know it doesn't feel right at first, but our goal is to find that happy medium. Now we can relax our arms and hands. That's going to produce more speed, more power. The contact you're making with the ball is more impactful. It's more efficient, so that 100 miles an hour of clubhead speed is going to translate to 130 mile an hour ball speed, whereas before 100-mile-an-hour club head speed translated into 100-mile-an-hour ball speed because you were just glancing that ball and it was spinning off to the right. So I hope that tip helps you. I use the word tip. It is not a tip. That is an absolute foundational principle of hitting a golf ball long and straight. Okay? Understanding that relationship of how your hands affect club face angle at impact is 100%. If you're struggling with directional control, that is literally all you should be working on in the coming weeks. Okay? So that's all I got for today. Good luck, guys, and reach out to me in the comments or shoot me a message if you have any questions or if there's anything else you want me to cover in these episodes. Good luck, guys. Take care.